Welcome to Shoulder of Orion, the Blade Runner podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Prater, and I'm joined by my co-hosts.
Patrick Green.
And Micah Green.
Well, hello, everybody.
Well, hello.
Hello, hello. We are here doing another earlier recording on the East Coast, and Micah and I got back at 3 in the morning from an IMAX 70 mm screening of The Odyssey last night, which
Yes,
was
worth it.
incredible. I got before we get going on this, I got to say, have you seen IMAX 70 mm before, Jamie?
Oh, of course, of course.
But
I
in
saw
70
Blade Runner
mil, so
2090
still,
or 2049 in IMAX.
Oh,
but that was
I
that was
would
just
kill for
IMAX.
that.
That's not 70 mm.
Oh,
It's
oh,
totally different.
okay,
That was why this was such a big deal. So
okay.
the aspect ratio for 70 mm is essentially a square. It's like a
Yes.
gigantic square, right? And that coupled with an IMAX screen where it covers, so like you don't even notice it, but normally when you watch IMAX, you're just seeing this widescreen, kind of slice of the thing. This is the whole floor to ceiling. And there's only like 20 of these in the United States. And this one we went to was in Providence, Rhode Island. And I could not get over how much information was not available on the regular,
Mm,
like, Dolby Atmos screen that we saw the first time on. It was really incredible. And of course, the only reason this could happen was because the whole film was shot in 70 mm IMAX. So it was actually, it was the native resolution that Nolan intended for it. And wow, what a movie. Oh my God, it was even
mm.
better the second time.
Yeah, it
Wow,
was. It
wow.
was. Is that the first film that was fully shot
Yeah,
for
the
that?
first
So,
feature-length film that was shot
Really?
to the 3 hour
yeah,
runtime. Yeah, you can
I,
max
f-
out with.
I
only
would think
3 hours.
2001 was also shot for IMAX. I don't know. I
I don't think
probably way
IMAX
off
existed
base,
back
but
then. I did, but
maybe 70
IMAX.
millimeter or
It
65
might be.
millimeter or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of something. I'm not sure what.
a lot of movies have been shot in IMAX. Like they've been shot using like the IMAX format for especially
Yeah,
for certain sequences and things like that.
Okay,
But this was the whole thing, and so because of that,
that's great.
obviously Nolan had to come up with all these like technical solutions because the film shutter is so loud that they had to like ADR all the dialogue and stuff. And it's really amazing that they like did it. But it really, yeah, it's great. I will say though the sound is bad. Like the sound mix in his films, I think is has always been pretty bad. And seeing it on that system, which was just like absolutely Titanic, but I was like, man, it's really muddy. Like the mix is
yeah.
really muddy in his movies.
Hmm.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I
Mm.
felt that way in Tenet. When I saw Tenet, I was like, this is
Yeah, I mean,
mud.
Tenet was like almost you couldn't even hear what was going on.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but even in
But
the
today we're
Odyssey,
here to
like
talk
it was
about,
definitely it was definitely muddy. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Oh, we got patrons. Hang on.
yeah, yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. We have Shura Multivac, Andrew Tracy, Zachary Eastrom, Larry Wood, Nick, Tom Goddard, Big Hippie, Stefan Calderon, and Chase Paquin, who just joined a couple days ago. We are really grateful for you guys. And we'll do separate producer shout outs at the end. Again, the producer tier is $12 US and up per month, and you get a lot of exclusive stuff like a private chat with the whole team and all that kind of stuff as well. And we really are enjoying that perk. So if you want to join that, or you want to just join regular Patreon and get ad-free listening to all episodes of Perfect Organism as well as Frame Rate and other Patreon exclusive shows, you can do that at bladerunnerpodcast.com/support, or you can go ahead on Patreon, find Perfect Organism there, or you can subscribe right within the Apple Podcasts app too. So we'd love to have you. Thank you. All right, Jamie, let's go.
No, that's great. So we're here to discuss in more detail the first trailer for Blade Runner 2099, which is of course starring Michelle Yeoh and Hunter Schafer. We did a first reaction to that, just Patrick and I don't know what that 3 weeks ago now, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
And we wanted to talk about it more in depth. There's been a lot that's come out about it. There's more on the way. We've had some great conversations with some people behind the scenes, which we'll share more about in the coming weeks and months as we lead up to the premiere of this show. But yeah, we're ready to dive in. And of course, welcome to Micah to the show
Oh, thank
as a
you.
contributing host.
Yeah, I've been watching it since it came out like over and over again. And one thing that I've noticed just like right off the bat is I get chills every single time I watch it. Just like genuine chills. And I don't know exactly what's causing it, but there is something underlying in the trailer that is like awakening.
Hmm.
And I think we've just been waiting for this for such a long time. And everyone, there's been like worry that it's not going to happen or that it's been canceled. We'll just never see this show. And when we finally get this trailer, I don't want to like gush about it, but I probably will. Like for now, the times that I've watched it, I have been just completely fascinated, completely in, and like I said, I have chills each time that I watch it. And maybe it's the combination of Michelle Yeoh and Hunter Schafer in the leading roles. Maybe it's like the curiosity of seeing what has happened in the intervening years since 2049. And just like, where are we going? There's familiar things about the trailer, there's unfamiliar things about the trailer, and it's just all so thought-provoking and exciting. And just like the sum up is I have chills every single time I watch it. And I'm really, really, really thrilled about that. I actually really like the music in the trailer, and I know, Patrick, you're kind of like underwhelmed by it. It's kind of probably a placeholder for
I
now
liked it
until we
too.
get. I like it. What is it about this music? I like it. It's
There's
like
nothing wrong with it. I just I
you fucking
don't think
hate
it's the
it.
actual I don't think it's the score for the actual show.
Okay. Well, I think it's I don't know. It works really well with everything that we're seeing. And it's very strong. And I just I don't know. I like it. It stays in my head and I start thinking about it as I'm processing the imaging of the trailer. So I don't know. I'm not saying that you hate it, but I think you were just kind of like maybe
Not
expecting
impressed.
something that was right, that was more like
Well,
a
I
plus.
think I can speak to that for a second. I think it's more that the visuals in this are very exciting and different and new and intriguing, and the score that they used just felt a little more kind of predictable, kind of like safe, teaser trailer temp scoring to me.
Hmm.
But it's out of context, and maybe it's going to be awesome. Like I mean, I'm sure we can talk about the music today because now we know who's doing it, which is really exciting too. So yeah, I didn't hate the score. I just think that it didn't feel as strong to me as the visuals and the performances in the trailer felt, or at least as arresting.
We should ask the people who we know if that music is from the show or if it was just for the
Yeah,
trailer. I think that would be interesting.
that
It
would be
did what I
interesting.
do like about maybe not so much the music was they decided we're going to give this trailer a new sound. They could have used moments from 2049 or the original film and they didn't do that because 2049 in their first teaser also used original music or music from the original film. It was updated a little bit had a little bit of a different feel to it, but it was essentially tones from what Vangelis had done. But this trailer completely different, which I appreciate. They're like, hey, we're going to go with something new, but still felt like Blade Runner to me.
For sure. Yeah. Do you want to go through the trailer a little bit and kind of analyze
Sure.
it?
Yeah, you do hear that like that classic, and this trailers were doing this for a long time where they'd have that like horn sound. Lots of trailers, and Prometheus kind of the trailer for Prometheus sort of ushered that in, and or maybe it was actually Nolan's films did that first. I think it was Inception
Yeah.
did that first, and then Prometheus did it, and then
The
all of
bois.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very Nolan.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. But this one, it has that like synth sound too. That's why when I'm talking about this kind of feeling to me like kind of generic Blade Runner music, that's what I'm talking about. It kind of has like that
Mm.
kind of. It sounds like it could have
Hmm.
been from 2049. Again, not a bad thing. I mean, I think we're all
Sounds like you hate it.
so now here we have we're not doing this in real time, but we have some establishing shots, right? We have this we have the spinners flying overhead replicating to a degree the shots of like flying over the oil derricks in the beginning of 2019. Um, and it's cool. I love that they're flying into like what looks like a setting sun, and we see all this like
Mm.
scaffolding. We see these kind of exoskeletal buildings. It's worth noting that this is a world where replicants have considerably more power and agency over things. Post blackout, post struggles with humanity. And so it feels to me like this city is being kind of rebuilt in replicants image a little bit, kind of on their own architectural terms, which is
Mm.
great because I was hoping it was going to be like that. One of the things that I said, a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago was I really hope
Whenever.
this doesn't just feel aesthetically like it's just a continuation of either of the films because there's such a big gap of time has happened. And it really doesn't. It really looks like a different architectural aesthetic, which I think suits the narrative and it shows the jump in time.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it feels like it is that world that we left in 2049 but evolved. And it's going to be really exciting to get the actual history of what happened between 2049 because there was all this unrest with between replicants. There was underground like I don't know what word, like there's underground parties that were about to rebel and like arise up again. And I mean, just from what we hear in the trailer about how the war has been fought and we lost, that sounds like the replicants are in charge now and the ones in power. And I think what's really interesting is that a lot of these beginning shots that have Hunter by herself, and then kind of it looks as if she is either on the run or just kind of moving away from something, avoiding something. If she is a human, what if it's like the reversal now where replicants are hunting down humans? I'm skipping ahead a bit, but there is something that looks and sounds like a void comp being set up in it with the eye and that little noise, the electrical noise. So I'm wondering if we will get to see a reversal of Blade Runners hunting replicants. Maybe replicants are now hunting humans. I don't know. That's probably a silly speculation, but it's interesting to see and hear Hunter's character talk about war being lost, and then to see her being either chased or hunted, or I mean, she's taking a beating hardcore right at the beginning of the trailer, and it's I don't know. I'm just like sucked in by that.
I think you're definitely right that replicants are in some way seeking humans or hunting them down, or because we have Olwen, who's Michelle Yeoh's character, who really seems for all the world like a Blade Runner character, right? But and she's definitely a replicant, so there is something to that, you know. And that first shot we get of Hunter walking out, I love that. I think there's so much visual density. Like this is a trailer that rewards pausing a lot. And if you just pause on that first shot where she's slightly to the right of the screen coming out, and there's like LAPD officers or police officers in the background, um, you can see she's coming through some sort of like a long tunnel that looks a little bit like the Second Street, underpass that we love in Los Angeles. Kind of has those vibes to it, and she's looking up at the sky, right? And so that I think is to me at least transmitting that those spinners that we saw in the beginning were police spinners, and that she is if not on the run, because I mean there's a cop right next to her. I think she's very aware of being surveilled. Part of me feels like surveillance will be like a theme throughout this thing, that humans are being surveilled by the replicants at this point, and kind of that's a way that they're controlling them, which is in an era of flock cameras, I think really a poignant thing to be feeling watched by essentially technology. Even the replicants are of course more than quote unquote just technology. They were things, they were beings that humans created, and now in our real world, like, we're creating things that are also keeping tabs on us, and there's something a little bit unsettling about that, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. There's always storytelling in trailers. They always, if you look at the structure of a trailer, they're telling you parts of the story, which I think, to your point, Patrick, you see the LAPD, the spinners in the beginning over the Hades landscape, then you see her looking up. Yeah, they're definitely telling us something about the story. What's interesting is I do think that this is going to be a flip on its head, where Blade Runners might be hunting humans. I don't think it'll be that cut and dry. I think Blade Runners also might be hunting replicants who knows, maybe there are replicants who are more sympathetic to the plight of humans. Maybe those replicants are a risk as well. And and I know that Olwen is a Blade Runner. I think that was outlined in, like, she's towards the end of her life, which I think is interesting, that these replicants 50 years later still have end of life, like they still are only created or manufactured to live a certain amount of time. Because I'm thinking, if you own everything, if you run everything, why are you giving yourselves limited lifespan? Why not just give yourself an open-ended lifespan like people do? Which is fascinating to me. So I'm curious as to where that goes in the plot.
I mean, it could be almost like self-enforced obsolescence, or obsolescence. I guess it's obsolescence.
Obsolescence?
That sounds both correct. I don't
Maybe
Obsolescence, I
know. I've
both,
think,
never
is the
said that word.
word.
but that could be part of how they operate. I mean, nobody's, if going to want technology from 50 years ago still, in charge of things, right?
That's
So
true.
maybe
Well,
this,
who is making them?
yeah,
Are they making themselves? Are they being
autons.
overseen?
Well,
Right. Like, well,
yeah,
what is the thing? Because in 2049 we have the Wallace Corporation making a great deal of the replicants. So who is doing that now? Like which corporation is responsible for all these replicants? Or are they like did they take over and we do see a little bit of what looks like it's similar to the birth of the newborn in Blade Runner 2049. It's like this kind of sheet thing that comes down and it seems like the replicant kind of drops down from it from wherever like some sort of ether that they're created in. So it's interesting to see that looks like it gives off those same vibes or whatever, but it's definitely different. And there's more people around for the birth of this replicant, quote unquote. And I'm just like, who is the one funding that or providing the, I guess, materials to make the replicants? Like, how are they being made? Are we going to get to see how they're being made? Because we haven't seen that before either. We've only seen a little piece of that here and there. And then like what is the goal now that replicants are in charge? What's changed? Before they just wanted to live. Now that are they living? Are they still seeking more agency? Like what there's so many questions that this teaser opens up, and I think that's extremely promising, at least.
and to those points, Micah, in 2049, Wallace is obsessed with Deckard and Rachel's child, and where are they? And that was something he was never able to perfect in terms of replicants having children themselves. And I feel like there is an answer to that, whereas 50 years later, they're still not able to do that. But yeah, and then there's a shot of an end of a woman who knows could be Stelline's daughter for all we know. So I think she's key. But I feel like we do get one answer to 2049 that Wallace was unable to to make it happen, and that replicants are probably still relying upon technology to manufacture them. They're not in control of themselves. They're in control of the architecture that builds them, which is an interesting place to be, if that's the case. I mean, maybe replicants have babies at this point, but I would imagine they don't.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's that they've taken over Wallace Corp. Like I think there's a couple of shots in here that look like they're flying in and or around Wallace Corporation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But again, I love that this again, part of why this teaser has grown on me so much, even though I really enjoyed it the first time and it continues to grow on me, is it's hard to know exactly if that's what we're seeing. But it looks like they have like infiltrated Wallace Corp and it's some sort of like new replicant stronghold or something like that. That's a really interesting point, Jamie, about how it seems like Wallace's dream has still not like happened outside of that one, anomaly with Stelline. I think that's really interesting. And there is a shot of like a girl in this, like a kid.
Yeah.
Um, and that could be, yeah, it could be like some distant, Stelline daughter. It looks to me a little bit like it could be like a child version of Cora or something like that, like
Mm.
like a flashback scene or
Mm.
something. But she has like it definitely looks kind of like out of place, like it's some sort of like separate, part of the story. But I definitely think that this part of this is probably frustration that they're not able to just reproduce on their own. That they're still using the mechanisms that their slaveholders essentially used to create them, right? That they are still not quite equivalent in their eyes to humans because they can't just reproduce without these vestiges of human technology that they are now using. Uh, I was trying to find that shot while you guys were talking where you see the birth pod thing.
Mm.
and it happened so
Oh,
quick that I couldn't quite find it.
it
Yeah, it's
happens.
oh, it's
Um,
right here. Hold on. 109.
109.
10, yeah, 109. You can see it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
good
this
call.
sheet. Yeah. It's really like, and do you see how like
Yeah.
people are kind of guiding the
Yeah.
newborn down? Whereas with Wallace, she just kind of plummets onto the
Right.
ground. So it's like they're still trying to figure out their version of birth and trying to make it maybe, I don't know, maybe they're trying to make it like, I don't know, like I can't think of a word other than like they're like trying to comfort the newborn or something like they're guiding that newborn into the world and helping
Well,
them.
the newborn's also being dropped into like water, it looks like, into
Yeah,
some sort of
it's a
like
water birth.
amniotic retaining fluid or something. You see there's like a tub underneath it.
Yeah,
if
maybe
you
so it's
freeze
not
the
just like the
frame,
ground.
if the frame is frozen, you look right behind the membrane, whatever the person's
Yeah.
falling. There's another like figure in a pose
Oh
stuck
yeah,
Yeah.
behind it,
I
and
see
then
it.
there's
And
There's
one in
there's
another
front
there's one
of
in
one.
it.
front too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
These
see
are
the
all
heel
like,
and the butt.
Yeah.
yeah,
And they look a lot like the Pompeii, the victims of Mount Vesuvius, like
You're
yeah, they
those
right.
do.
frozen reclining figures.
Yeah, and I wonder like are they like timing this birth? Like is it, it also looks like Hunter Schafer's character is like there
Yeah,
watching.
she's there, right
That's
there looking
her.
at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, so
So
if she's human, like what is she doing in that?
why is she allowed to
Are the
be
humans
there?
still making the replicants,
Yeah, maybe the humans are employed to make the replicants.
right?
But it's interesting. I'm always like, why is that replicant ready to be born and the one in front and the one behind? Like, where are they? Is there a process they have to like over time develop similar to like a fetus? Or like this one is chosen to be born because of why? Like I don't it's very interesting and I did not notice those other two replicants until you pointed them out, Jamie.
I just
That's
noticed them
really
now myself,
interesting.
honestly. And what's
Yeah.
interesting about this is I wonder if we don't know how replicants are made. We can see how they're born, quote unquote, in some ways, but we don't know how they're made. And I wonder if in the future, you know how there's um, labs, medical labs, like printing ears and weird things. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
wonder if it's that kind of a process where they're printing a whole body.
Yeah,
Um,
could be.
That's what it
I don't
seems
know.
like. Maybe it's like, some sort of stem cells that are in a membrane that are then induced through various like hormones and things
Yeah.
to create. I always kind of thought that was how replicants were made, and it
Just
looks
like
like that could
grown.
be it. They're essentially grown from like just like a human, goes from like a blastocyst to an embryo to a human being.
But it's like they went they go from like cells interlinked to like
Adults.
a full adult.
Yeah.
So it's like that is interesting. I wonder if we'll get to see any more of that process, especially since we know now by pausing it that is it's Cora, right? Hunter Schafer is
Yep.
playing Cora,
Yeah.
that she's there witnessing it.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not supposed to be there. Maybe that's why they're chasing her. Like maybe the birth of their newborns is incredibly secret because it's like a vulnerable time for the replicants and maybe it's the only vulnerable time anymore. I don't know. I'm just speculating on things, but I think
Hmm.
it's incredibly fascinating that we see her kind of in the shadow watching this happen. What if this is like the preceding moment before she gets caught? Like maybe that's something that a human is not supposed to see. Or maybe Jamie, you're right, maybe humans are employed to do this and to continue to create replicants. It's just it could go anywhere, and that's
Yeah.
what's so exciting about this trailer. Like we don't have to rewatch like, oh, this is where we come from with scenes from 2049. This is all new and all like very polished and like very it feels very confident in itself to me.
Yes.
Like it feels like there's a story here and we are gonna
I'd
present it
agree.
to you.
I definitely agree with that.
But we're not going to give you too much right now. Like this is what you get to see now, and
Yeah.
then in November you get to see more. And I think that is probably why I get chills because it's like the knowledge that we are going to get this seemingly new story with new situations, but yet in that same universe that we are so often returning to because of how brilliant it is.
Yeah, I agree. It's also, I'm just, I'm going through the trailer, more and more as we're sitting here talking and just noticing new things in it. And I think that really bodes well because that's what you want, from a Blade Runner project. You want something that has a lot of layers to it. Like the Buster Friendly Live from Mexico thing is and it's Friendly Friends. It's just wonderful because that's like a Philip K. Dick, fan moment. But it's also cool to see that that's like living on in this, even though it's so long after the events of the book. Um, it's really interesting. And also like a lot of the brands that were in the original film, like RCA and what was the tape company? TDK. They're still like in this, but a lot of their billboards are kind of falling apart. Like if you kind of freeze frame it and you look around at like LA, it really looks like it's changing, There's this beautiful shot. And again, I gotta say, I apologize because some of these I was saying looked like they could have been augmented with AI when I was doing my initial reaction. And now that I'm really like freezing it and really looking at it, I think I was wrong. So I want to retract that officially. Um, there's this beautiful shot at like 19 seconds looking down over oh, what are those called when it's a city that's in a building? Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I
A
really
city
Oh,
love
that's in
there's
a
a
that shot
term.
building?
actually.
There's a term for that. Yeah.
It's like a micro city type deal, but I don't
Yeah,
know what
but
term is that you're looking
I'll,
for.
I'll look it up after I finish this
And
rambling
we
comment.
know
But
that this is LA for sure, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
but I think so. I mean, we know that the story takes place in LA. We don't know if everything we're
Okay.
seeing is though,
That's
But
true.
there's this beautiful shot at like 19 seconds where you have this spinner flying overhead into what looks like it could have grown out of the LAPD headquarters from 2019, but it's
Oh
basically
yeah.
this like this vertical city right in the middle of
Oh
Los Angeles,
yeah.
which I
It does
love,
look like the
and that's
LAPD did.
something that I've always I'm just gonna let's just edit this. Let me just look up
LAPD.
what the term for that is. Hang
It looks like
on.
there's a D at the end that spells a D, LAPD. If you look at, oh yeah, I think that is LAPD. If you look at the letter on the
Oh God,
circular part,
yeah.
that's LAPD.
Wow. So
I
what
think.
happened?
And the term that I was looking for is arcology. That's what it was.
Oh,
I've
Which
I've
never
never
again
heard
even
is
that
heard
term in
that
great.
my
term
life.
before.
I've literally never heard that in my life. That's
You
a
I've
never,
cultural
covered
shock.
them
played
all.
SimCity 2000 is what you guys
I
missed
love
out on because
SimCity. I fucking
Yeah,
yeah,
love
well,
we're
no,
not
SimCity.
allowed.
remember arcology is what you try to build up to. You get to the
That's
point where your
true.
city can like
Yes.
have host an arcology.
Some of us were not allowed to play SimCity. So
Because it was the
Really?
devil's
Why?
game.
yeah, my mom was
No,
worried.
SimCity. I'm talking about
No, yeah.
SimCity, not Sin
Oh yeah.
City.
No, Sim City.
Yeah,
Why
Not
not
allowed.
SimCity?
Because my
playing
mother
God.
is a Catholic Hispanic woman and I couldn't do anything when I was a
Oh my
child.
God. Well, I couldn't listen.
Love
We
her.
couldn't watch The Simpsons or Ren and
Yeah, I
Stimpy.
couldn't watch that either. Not allowed.
Maybe the problem was the sim. Maybe
Maybe it's the
that's what it was.
Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But arcologies have always fascinated me a lot, and it's actually something that I've talked to like A.T. Johnson about, who we were just talking about before we record. What's up, A.T.?
Hmm.
There's this wonderful movement in like especially early 20th century futuristic architecture where there's this ideal of having a city within a building, and you have everybody from like the Italian futurists to Frank Lloyd Wright and his mile high skyscraper concept. This idea that like the ultimate expression of the urban internationalism would be to have buildings that could essentially be self-governed, self-contained, have everything you need in one place, and that
There's
those
our
would be places that would be inhabited by everybody. It's essentially a utopia. And then what happens as the 20th century goes on and we have advances in architecture that allow for things to actually be built that approximate semi-arcologies, right? We have skyscrapers, we have, things that are light enough and strong enough, like with concrete to build things like in Dubai, et cetera. And we see that those buildings are not for everybody at all, right? Who lives in New York's super tall skyscrapers? Nobody. You know why? Is because they're all owned by investors as just investment properties, and they'll pay $28 million for a penthouse that they will never go to, and they'll
gross.
just hold on to it. So you have these incredible I mean, we're right next to New York City. We see this all the time. These buildings that are so incredibly tall and beautiful, and right in the middle of downtown, Manhattan, near Central Park, and they're empty. And that is, I think, exactly what this sort of arcology structure could represent in 2099 and 29. We've always talked about the idea of on-world versus off-world, right?
Mm,
Which we're going to get to hopefully in a moment.
yeah.
And the idea that like the rich can leave and and those who can't afford to stay. What if like now enough time has gone on that there's this whole new class of elite rich people on Earth who, can't get off because the technology doesn't exist anymore or because they're subjugated in some way by replicants, but they have means to build and et cetera and organize. And so like now there's new arcology structures within Los Angeles where the rich can be kind of walled off within a tower somewhere
Mm,
and kept out of the riffraff. I think that could be really cool. And
fascinating.
that's if that's an arcology. If that is just the LAPD headquarters, which is entirely possible, and it's become that massive, that
Could
obviously
be.
has tremendous things to say about the world building, where you have a police department, with a building that's 4 kilometers tall, right? Like, I mean, that I think is saying a lot. And further, like, who's controlling the LAPD in that environment, right? Like, this one would have to assume it's replicants, right?
Replicants.
I mean, if Olwen is acting on behalf of the LAPD in her replicant capacity as an out replicant, similar to Kay, uh, maybe now the replicants have actually taken over the LAPD leadership as well, and now it's a police state run by the policed
Mm.
formerly, you know.
I wonder if we will get any nods to 2049. Like when you say that sort of thing, like an out replicant similar to Kay, what if Kay is like a martyr now and they have taken over like maybe they've warped his example to being like, we should be running this now. We are the Blade Runners now, and we are in control. I mean, that would just occurred to me. It could be an interesting way to go. Or they could just fully not incorporate anything from 2049. That would be also valid. I do see nods to 2049,
Oh yeah.
2049. Like that room, and it's like at like uh 30 seconds or something in there where it appears like there's a fashion show happening or some sort of concert or show, and there's this
It's
giant
like a club or
ballerina.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the giant ballerina
Yeah,
Hang
I
on,
mean,
I'm
there?
I
going
think
right
it's
to it.
definitely a nod to the snake pit, right? Like
Yeah, or I mean,
Taffy's bar.
there's definitely a huge shot of like the Joy dancer thing. There was one in
Yeah,
2049 of that, and
Oh
like
yeah.
now this
yeah,
is an even bigger ballerina. Like her toe shoes are
Oh fuck
bigger than a
yes, I'm seeing it.
yeah.
person. Yeah,
But
see?
at the same scale that
It's
the Las
ballerina
Vegas
shoe.
giant,
Yeah.
Yeah.
women's sculptures were too. It looks like almost a
Yeah.
continuation of that too,
But
right? Like,
look how giant it is, and it's like obviously it's a projection, but when you hear the sound effect, it sounds like they're making a sound effect for it having weight, at least. I don't
Mm.
know. It's very like intimidating that moment because it's almost like it's about to step on the dancers or the models or whoever is on that stage. It's what is that? I'm excited to learn about that scene. Um, yeah, Patrick, you were wanting to talk about something and I had forgotten what it was that you were
I was
bringing
just
up.
going to talk about the off-world stuff, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
glad that you
yeah.
brought up this kind of snake pit moment because I also think I think that's really interesting, and it is showing that like this is unlike 2049. This is a society that seems to have rediscovered entertainment, right? Like
Yes.
2019 is full of this shit. Obviously, we get to know the snake pit pretty well. We get to see a lot of people dancing on outside. And then 2049 is devoid of that because it's so close to the blackout and everything's devastated, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, like a lot of the visual language of 2049 is the language of the loss of partying, right? Like a lot of it takes place in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas, is now this shell where everything's destroyed. 2099, now 50 years later, people are partying again, right? Like this looks like a hopping thing to be at. It looks like people are celebrating, looks like they're having a really good time, and it makes me wonder like who they are for one thing, like who are the people in this club, and why are they like able to do this again, like where did the social mobility and means come from to allow this to happen. I think when you look at culture in the real world over time, when there's a lot of partying going on, it's usually saying something pretty specific about the era, right? Like the 1920s, in the United States, of course, being very much like a secularization of society where people were letting their hair down literally and becoming more open with who they were in public and things. Or you look at like the 1980s and a lot of the world, and how that was also a decade of decadence where there was just all of this, late post-war money that was still floating around, and a lot of designer drugs were becoming available. And you had within that wonderful things like you had, like gay rights becoming more visible, and but then you also had plagues. You had just incredible suffering, and then the reaction to that being very much where we are now, which is a world that is much more buttoned up again and much more kind of internalized. So it's interesting to see that kind of same swing happening, I think, in the world of Blade Runner, and I think it makes a lot of sense. One of my like prediction-esque things before this came out was like I think it's going to be even more desolate than 2049 was, and it's not. And I'm actually grateful because I think that that was for very intelligent decisions. The thing that I was going to say about Off-World is that I think my favorite thing in this trailer is that we see space travel. Like we're seeing stuff happening, and I don't know exactly what we're looking at or where
Yeah.
it is, but we're seeing shots that feel uh, a little bit new and fresh for Blade Runner. Like we have a rocket of some kind that's taking off from what looks like Los Angeles and going into the sky. What's so cool is I think these are my favorite shots actually, is you see the
That
person
red,
who's like
yeah,
next to
that
it.
like laser thing.
Yeah, there's like a
That's
laser
sick.
that's shooting down, and it's like they're standing at the rim of a volcano or something.
Yeah. Where's
Um,
that?
that imagery, yeah, that's at like about the 1 minute mark.
Yep.
And I guess it's probably not the same shot as the next shot where the rocket's taking off because that wouldn't really make sense. But the color grading is the same. Like it looks like it's of the same
Mm.
I'm like,
part
who
of
is that?
Earth or something. Yeah, and
Is
I,
that a
I don't
replicant
know.
or is that a human? Like,
And are they
is it
sending
the
people
roles
off world
completely
to save
reversed?
them or yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, it looks like the the being that's near the laser is kind of looking up and seeing that rocket launch away. And maybe
Yeah, I think
it's
you're right.
we could speculate. I mean, I keep speculating because I'm just excited about it, but like what if that is the off-world like mining situation that we used to make replicants do, and now you can see privileged few that get to leave that position and go elsewhere, maybe back to Earth or
Well, I will say, now that I'm going ahead like 10 seconds, I think we see that same ship again, and it definitely looks like a weapon. It
a
looks
weapon,
like
like
it is
a
being
rocket.
sent towards, because if you look at like 1 minute and 12 seconds, there's like this ship that's hurtling
Yeah.
towards what looks a little bit like the Nostromo's refinery or something.
Ooh.
It's these kind of bubbles. And it looks like maybe that was sent up as like a weapon off
Mm.
to destroy
Whoa.
something in space almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that. Ooh.
Right? Like it doesn't look like it's getting ready to land.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a planet, which I think if you don't, like you said, if you don't pause it, you won't see that. It doesn't look like a planet anymore, like a ship returning anywhere. It looks like some sort of maybe space station, like you
Yes,
were like,
that
what
it
if
took
that
off
is
from.
either a weapon pointed at it or like an invading crew, like a pirate type situation? I don't know. Ugh. What could that be? Like,
Yeah, like
where
what
are
if it's
they?
like factions from Earth launching some kind of like a secret uh attack?
Rebellion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting as heck. Like, so. That's brings me to something else that I want to talk about too in this trailer. See, like we could just keep going on and on about this trailer.
Do
Like
you
if you
also?
go,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like back at 37, 38 seconds is like the first real violence that we see. You know, when it's Cora being, she's taking a beating, presumably by a replicant, maybe that's chasing her or whatever who caught her. That the quiet of there's no more music. It's just the sound of her head being smashed against the window. And it's so brutal and like I think it's definitely on purpose that we get to see all of these glorious images, these intriguing images, exciting things happening, and then you stop and it's dark and there's just the sounds of violence. So it's like, okay, remember what type of show this is. Remember what type of movie this is. It is brutal. It is dangerous, literally dangerous days. Like
Mm.
it's that moment in the trailer kind of like stops you short and it's scary because if Cora is a human being, I'm just always thinking like that's so much blood. How can she take all of this and then be like she's captured somewhere because then she is kind of being confronted by Olwen. So like that
And
moment I
those two
think is
things come
arresting.
after we see her in the birthing room.
Correct. Yeah, we see her in the birthing room, then we see her running. Wait,
So maybe to your earlier point, Micah, maybe like she was caught or something.
maybe she was seeing, oh, it might not be the birthing thing yet,
Is it not?
but we do see her like kind of looking, worrying about the sky and stuff, and then running. And then she's in this like bar area looking like Michelle Yeoh's character kind of caught up to her. And then that you see like the beating happening. After that, it's like the interrogation looking thing
Yeah, you're right.
with
You're right.
Owen. But maybe I don't know. If I predicted that, I'm gonna be like really proud of myself. But I don't know. I'm very curious as to the reasoning why Cora is being hunted. And then
Well,
beaten like that.
you see the scenes where she's sliding down the like she's running. It looks like she
Yeah.
has a prison uniform on. There's another
Oh,
I
one
was going to
behind
bring
her.
the uniform up. Yeah.
So it looks
Did you
like
see what
it's
it
a
says on
prison
the back?
uniform. Yeah. It says LAPD something.
It
Or
says
LA.
LADAC.
Yes, yes.
So to me, that says
Department
Los Angeles
Of
Department
corrections.
something corrections. Yeah.
Yeah.
Corrections.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a
What
like a
if she's
cute like little
a
chic
replicant who's
outfit.
been bred to think she's human? Like she
What,
is
or
a
what if
full
she's
on.
Selene's? What if she's Selene's daughter? What if this
Oh,
whole thing is she is actually that missing link?
wow.
Because Selene did have a daughter
Yeah.
somewhere,
Yeah.
and so she again thinks that she's human, but she's not. You know.
Or thinks that she's
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. Maybe
Oh,
she is like unaccepting too of like actually no, you're not either. You are
Yeah.
a mix of the two. And
And
like
there's all
that
these
is
comments about how like her character is wrestling with notions of identity and stuff. Maybe
right.
yes.
that's
And
something to do. Maybe she has a connect. If not, she's the daughter. Maybe she has a connection somehow. Maybe she's related to
maybe
Deckard or
she
something
is
like
one of the
that.
few like replicant born children.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's why she thinks she's a human because she had a childhood and grew up.
And that was her
That,
as a little girl in that shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that puts a
Mm.
huge target on her back. Like
It's
to
so
be
nice to have stuff to
studied,
talk
to
about.
be
Isn't it?
what if?
Like, how
Yeah,
good
I
does
don't
it feel
know.
to be doing this with Blade Runner? I mean, we've done this with Alien so many times in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
right? We've
Yeah.
had so
Yeah.
many opportunities to just speculate with teasers and stuff. Man, it feels good. Like I
And we
feel
have like
excited.
And
8
this is
hours
not
of
even,
this on the way.
Yes.
I know, and there's not
Yeah,
even
not even 6, which is so
2 minutes.
great too. It actually is longer than IMDb said, which is
Mm.
awesome.
Yay. Yeah, and it's not even a 2 minute trailer, and we could continue to talk about this. Like there's so many, like every single shot is
Yeah, that
fraught
visual
with
density
something.
in this trailer is astounding.
Yeah.
It I have not like the world building in this, like they've really done their homework. And again, we were talking to somebody who's worked on the series, and they were talking about their love of Blade Runner and how it was so important for them to get the visuals right. And I feel like they've done it. I do want to jump to that shot of that spaceship satellite looking thing. It looks like it's by the sun. Do you know what that thing
Yeah.
looks like? It looks like a blimp. If you look at
Ooh.
it
It does
again.
it does look like
It
a blimp. That's a great
does.
point. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That reminded me a little bit of the Nostromo refinery with all the bubbles on it.
Yes,
I
that too.
think
Yeah.
it's absolutely more accurate.
It could
I would
very
love to
well
see the
be.
blimp again in 2099. We didn't see it in 2049. Not to say that I need to
No,
see these visual motifs to make me happy as a fan. I don't. But
but it
I
does.
do love the density of the world building of the original film. And I'm
That is a
ready
blimp.
to
You're
go
right.
back into.
I'm
You
zooming
think it's
in
a
on it.
blimp?
That's the blimp. You're absolutely right,
Oh
Jamie.
shit.
That
And
is
there's
the actual
also,
blimp that we know,
speaking of like
I
other
think.
images that are a callback to 2019, at like 24 seconds, you see a spinner flying through, and we're seeing like what you were talking about, Patrick, with like the advertisements kind of crumbling. There's like, it says TE, and then there's obviously a letter missing, and then M. And then on the right side of the screen, there's like that really, um, like it's like a sloping building, and it really looks like the building in 2019 that ends up having, it looks like, or in 2049, the Atari thing that the spinner flies by. It
Where
reminds
is
me of
this?
that at 24 seconds. You
24
have to pause it like
seconds.
right away. It's like for like a second. Oh yeah, and then there's the DK in the background, back there.
That's a
It looks like
TDK. Yeah.
TDK. And then you see on the right there, there's that building, or like the
It does
building
look a little
that
bit
looked
like the
like the
Atari.
geisha
Yeah.
had. Remember the
I don't.
geisha? Um,
Yeah, I
it
don't
looks like
see
that
that in
building to me a
24
little
seconds.
bit.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
you have to
there's the
pause it like
TDK.
immediately.
Yeah.
TDK.
Um,
the TE whatever M, and then that building on the right reminds me of
Yeah, I agree
that
with that.
Atari building, or like where the Atari
Yes.
ad was.
Yes.
And that horizontal projection coming off, the
Yeah.
first time I saw the trailer, I thought was the LAPD headquarters in 2049. Obviously, now that I paused it, I can see it's not, but it
Mm,
has that same kind of that those like, a couple rows of windows very high up off the ground.
yeah.
Um, yeah, the architecture
I
looks
see
great.
Seiko in there too. If you pause it where the
Helicon.
lion's roaring on the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
left, there's
Yep.
Seiko.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is, Seiko. Yep.
That's so cool. And yeah, and even the mountain lion roar thing, that looks like the image quality of that is akin to the image projections in 2019. So like
Hmm.
maybe that is one of your older ads that still is running somehow up there
Yeah.
because that's what it
Interesting.
looks like.
The next scene, as the camera pans, you see another projected image or whatever, and it's a praying mantis. And what do praying mantises do? The females
They
eat the males and
kill.
kill them
Yeah.
as they're mating, which I think
Where's the praying
everything's a
mantis?
subliminal message. I'm pretty sure that's a praying mantis head.
At like
Oh,
20,
Uh,
ew. Yeah, it could be.
29, but I have the trailer
29.
downloaded.
You have to pause it like super
That
quick
green
because it's,
thing that's over
yeah,
Yeah,
on the right? Yeah, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
thought that was a leaf or something, but you might be right.
no, no,
or
it's
it
a
could
praying
be
mantis head for
It is a
sure.
praying mantis? Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
I hate that.
Well, I mean, it's almost like, and if you look at the screen under the mountain lion too, it says something like Geo, like NAGO or
I
something.
Like
saw
Nat
that. Yeah,
Geo.
Like, yeah,
Nat
like
Geo. That's what I thought
which
too.
I feel like that we're supposed to think that like that National Geographic or whatever in the future will be like exotic entertainment because these animals are gone.
Yeah. Like,
So it's
remember
like
when we
it's
used to have praying
spectacle.
mantises? Yeah.
Like they're like this mountain lion is a spectacle for people to look at. It's like, something exotic from the past. It's like
Because
seeing a
there aren't
Pegasus.
any.
You know what I mean? It's like what we would think if we saw a mythological like a satyr or a Pegasus or a cyclops or
Yes.
something.
Or
Yeah,
like
that's true.
a
Yes.
dinosaur, like a woolly
Or a
mammoth.
dinosaur. Yeah, that's
Literally,
a much
like
better
a
way to put
woolly
it.
mammoth. If you could see a dinosaur with all the flesh and the whatever they actually look like and not just like how we think they looked, that's probably what this
Yeah.
lion is to
I
these.
mean, think
I
about
can
how
even,
spectacular that would be.
That would be
yeah, and I can even
incredible.
imagine like, how in the original, Start a New Life on Off-World Colonies, where this time it's like replicants have brought back lions, we've brought back insects.
Mm,
This is what is possible with blah 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 blah. Like it's a whole new
Yeah.
spiel. Like
Whichever
life is
conglomerate.
back on this planet. In
Yeah.
that first shot of the club or whatever, I don't know what it is. You see a chandelier hanging. You know what it
Yeah.
reminds me of? So if
Candles.
I know you guys have been obviously in downtown LA because we were all there together, but
Hmm.
in downtown LA, there's a lot of abandoned movie theaters from like the 20s and earlier that are landmarks that are sitting there as is. Some of them have been used, but you walk in there and they still have that like, is this
Oh,
place? That's what it feels like. It looks like an
yeah.
abandoned theater in LA to me. It looks really, really
I,
great. Again, the
I
visual
see
density
that.
in this is like they have done their homework. They have got this right. It's amazing.
I love the
they
mix in
really have.
that club scene of projection because in that scene with the chandelier, you can see the ballerina still. It's like you can see her feet. Um, and there's like actual dancers, and then there's just people like revelers around everything with music and lights, and like it's it is fascinating. You could just like stare at this one frame and try to see who's there, what do they look like, what are they wearing, what are they doing? Is this just like a fashion show or is it an actual like entertainer, like a musician
Mm.
and they're dancers? Like what is going on? And I thought that was really fascinating, Patrick, that you brought up like they have the ability to take time for entertainment rather than just survival. And when you're looking at 2049, especially when like I think the best moment with that is when you see Kay go home. Everybody's crowded in this terrible
Right.
dank, dirty, cold building, and they just go home and they shut their doors and just like kind of huddle down for the night. These people are going out, they are celebrating, they're dancing, they're reveling. Like maybe both exist. Maybe that existed in 2049 and we never saw it, but it's a definitely a choice, a stark contrast to what we're given in 2049 of the way people live. People, and I'm saying people, I mean people, replicants, I mean people, humans. So I wonder if there's a mix of replicants and humans in this club area. Like, do
Well,
they
that's what I was
live
thinking with
amongst
the
each other?
DAC. I've been trying to think what DAC might mean. I wonder if it means like Department of Allied Corrections. I wonder if there's like an
Mm,
alliance. The government is kind of like this alliant forces between replicants and humans, and like
yeah,
Speaking of
that's actually what
DAC,
power is.
let's
so
go.
Micah, don't you have the Wallace insignia or
I
thing?
do.
What do you
Let me
notice
see.
on that back of her jacket that has
Oh
in
my
common with
God.
Wallace? It's the same three things, but they're
Are
squiggles
you
like
serious?
water.
Where's that? I gotta find
Like
that.
Wallace had become something else. Because
Yeah,
Wallace
someone
was the
took
three,
over Wallace and changed it.
Hmm. Yeah,
like,
Interesting.
it looks a little
that's
bit
just
like
what I'm
it looks like
inferring. I don't
Cubert
know.
to me. It looks like the isometric,
Oh, yeah,
like the doesn't it look like the stages in Cubert turn
it
sideways?
does.
Yeah, maybe
Aw.
that is a Wallace reference though.
Wait, where do you see
So it's on
that?
the LA part. So if you look, there's LA and then there's a line
32
and then there's
seconds.
LAC.
Okay.
So maybe
Wait.
that's a symbol for Los Angeles. Maybe
Whoa.
that's why they're showing it with the
Could
LA
be.
specifically. Like that's like
But
becomes
it's
the
three
symbol for Los
bars
Angeles.
like Wallace that
Yeah.
trips
Oh
me up. I
wow.
mean, maybe it's just,
Well, but
maybe
maybe
it's
that's because
just,
Wallace became essentially Los Angeles. Like maybe it just became such a powerful corporation that the city basically came under its
Yeah,
rule.
maybe the
yeah.
city's kind of owned by Wallace Corporation.
Something that's interesting too is the color grading in this trailer, which we know from people who worked on it, is a little bit different for the purposes of the teaser. I think there's a little bit of misdirection going on with the color grading here. I don't think it's intentional. I think they're trying to make it like a cohesive viewing experience. But like if you look the way that the color palette coming out of the club into who appears to be Cora running away from the camera is the same, right? It has that amber kind of warm
Mm-hmm.
color to it. So it looks in the teaser like she's running through the club or something, but then you of course go outside and you see that it's some sort of like an industrial structure. And that happens later too with that same thing we were talking about where like somebody's outside with the laser coming down and then there's the ship taking off. Like if you freeze those frames, you'll see those are definitely two different scenes right next to each other,
Oh,
but they're graded in a way that makes it seem like one.
continuous.
Yeah, and I think that's to make the teaser less jarring to watch, but I also think it's a little bit of interesting misdirection because
Yeah.
I think we really might not know exactly what we are looking at. And like, what more do you
Yeah.
want out of a teaser than that? You know what I
No,
mean?
that's
I
awesome.
also noticed
Intrigued
that
and also confused.
Yeah.
when they're running around and she slides down the thing, that reminds me of the scene where Kay goes to the Moracle orphanage and he finds
Oh,
the
absolutely.
little
Oh
the
yeah,
little
that
toy,
industrial
but it
area.
has that industrial quality. So there are a lot of tips of the hat to 2049 and the original. Like it's a
Yeah.
really great marriage, at least so far, of those both of those worlds. Like this
Yeah.
is definitely wherever they filmed that scene is some type of abandoned industrial complex of some sort.
It certainly looks like it could be if they built it, that's almost more impressive, I think, because it
Yeah.
looks totally, genuine. Anyway, uh, this was a lot of fun. I'm really happy
Yeah.
that we have all this new stuff to talk about again.
I
Me
am
too.
too. I can't wait.
And there's so much more to come. For those listening, we are going to be well, not transitioning, but we're going to start recording live in a Shoulder of Orion podcast section of our Perfect Organism YouTube page. So we're going to start announcing those when we get more organized, because the reality is right now we're recording these episodes when we can, and we used to be like every 2 weeks, blah 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 blah. That all went away, and then we were doing once a month when we can do it,
Hmm.
which was towards the end of the month. Now we're getting back into more of a cadence, and we're trying to figure out what that is. So just stay tuned, and any live show that we do, we will announce on our Facebook page and our social media like Instagram beforehand to let everyone know. So if those of you who are interested, please uh, go and like our, well, I should say go and subscribe to our Perfect Organism podcast page, and then you'll have access to everything. But we'll share more about that as time goes on.
Yeah, and make sure
Absolutely.
you hit the bell to get notified. We're having some issues on the back end with that not always working for everybody,
Yeah.
so we're kind of working on that. But in the try to do it. Hit the bell because that's the best way to know that we're going live. We're not just saying that in YouTube speak, where you're supposed to
Smash
smash
the
the like
bell.
button. It actually is the best way to know that we're about to go on, and then you can join because we always. Those of you who listen to Perfect Organism know we do essentially all of our shows live now, and they have become incredibly fun hangouts for lots of people,
Yeah,
and that
super
chat
fun.
room is a wonderful chaotic place and it's really cool and to have this energy that we have now going into 2099 coming out, where we're really excited to talk and there's all these things to
Yeah.
say. Like, I can't wait to see the Blade Runner community having that same level of excitement again, because we have deserved it just as much as we have with the alien stuff, even more in some
Yeah.
ways, because it's been so quiet.
Mm.
So
And we definitely get to engage with a lot of comments from people who join our YouTube lives
yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
a lot of people who join are able to kind of like get their ideas out there and we can react to them because it's like a bigger conversation when we're live and it's always so much fun. So
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
try to get on that.
Absolutely. I'm going to do our producer shout outs quick before we wrap. And again,
Yeah.
these are people who give at the $12 and above level, and they have lots of exclusive stuff. And if you want to find out more about it, go ahead to bladerunnerpodcast.com/support. We have Xander House, Nathan Gribble, Darren Gold, Murray Kucherawi, Jonas Holmston, David Holmes, Dave Turner, Gene McDonald, Perry Chicos, Matt Bro, Carl McLean, Joseph Rosner, Wadhut, Steve Patterson, G. Latour Yates, Arnold Quigley, Ross Yost, Popcycle, Jeff DeLoff, Carl Hinkst, Chris B., Jeremiah White, Andrew, Peter from Melbourne, Gary Smith, Angel Cruz, Wayland Yutani, Distinguished Engineer, Lazy Pancreas, Sky Errand, Jordan, Darren, Eric Poopvane Stevens, Ali Kara, Matt Thomas, Andrew Tracy, Larry Wood, and our new buddy, Big Hippie.
Woo.
Thank you so much for your support. We got lots of cool stuff coming out. We just had the Odyssey frame rate go live, which was a lot of fun to record. And we're about to have a Halo episode coming out as
Yeah.
well for our game rate series, which we've been doing alongside frame rate. So if you're interested in more of that kind of stuff, please sign up over there. And we'd love to have you. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
so awesome to finally have a great amount to talk about.
Yeah.